You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, a Grove, Oklahoma woman sees jail time after intimidating a witness.
A gorgeous President's Day start and warm afternoon ahead. However, there's a massive cold front coming, and we'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Pittsburgh Parks and Rec Department drops by to tell you about what activities they're putting on. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A Joplin man suffers serious injuries in a motorcycle crash near Saginaw on Sunday afternoon, shortly after 3:15. Reddings Mill Fire Department, Newton County Sheriff's deputies, and the Newton County Ambulance responded to an emergency. Authorities found a single-occupant motorcycle crash involving a 22-year-old male who suffered serious injuries. Authorities say the driver, Paul Haney, was traveling north on Old Highway 71 when his motorcycle crashed into a mailbox. Authorities say Haney failed to negotiate a curve. Motorcycle began skidding and traveled off the right side of the road. Haney struck the mailbox and was thrown from his bike. Authorities say Haney was wearing a helmet. He was transported to Freeman West Hospital. For more on this story, you can head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. A judge sentences a Grove, Oklahoma woman who pled guilty to assaulting a witness in a murder case. Marie Morrow pled guilty to assault with a dangerous weapon in Indian country. She is sentenced to 30 months in prison and 2 years supervised probation. Authorities say Morrow assaulted a witness in the 2019 murder of Jerry Tapp in an attempt to intimidate them, and 2 men, father and son, are charged with Tapp's murder. You can read more about the case on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. The Joplin Police Department is searching for an armed robbery suspect. They say the suspect held the cashier at the corner convenience store on Maiden Lane at gunpoint, demanded cash, and left with that cash and merchandise. The employee was not hurt. Anyone who has information about this robbery should contact the Joplin Police Department. Well, Joplin college student accidentally opens himself up to identity theft after opening an email. Student received a seemingly legitimate employment ad. An email looked like it came from his college. He replied and applied and received a check later with a letter telling him to deposit it, spend the money on gift cards, and then send photos of the backs of the gift cards back to the people who sent the check. Stephanie Garland with the Better Business Bureau says it was then the student realized it was a scam.
So he didn't give out his social security information nor his driver's license, so that's great. But he did give out his address, first and last name. The scammer knows it's an active email now because you replied back. So we just want people to be very cautious and be aware that whether you're a business owner and you've got emails coming from that looks like your company to your customers or your staff, or you're a college student, this can happen to anybody.
Well, secondhand shopping used to mean going to your local thrift store, but nowadays we can do that online. So imagine you're surfing along and you find a one-of-a-kind vintage item that's in great shape and selling for a reasonable price. You think it's the deal of a lifetime, right? Once again, Garland says not so fast. The BBB urges you to be very cautious when shopping online for vintage and secondhand items due to an increasing number of scam reports. Now, these reports include people ordering their vintage item online and either getting a knockoff or in some cases nothing at all. Garland says there are some things you can do to protect yourself.
Scammers will target you with ads, and they will know what kinds of things you're going to click on, and they're going to go after your money as much as they can, unfortunately. Also, make sure you look at every single part of the website before you purchase. We've talked before here about going to the About Us page on the website, making sure it's built out, pulling up the address that's there on Google Maps, making sure it's not a different location that doesn't make sense, such as an empty field.
Garland adds it's best to pay with your credit card for online purchases because it has the most federal protections compared to other payment methods like your debit card or services like Google Pay. Well, a new Joplin business is encouraging guests to get messy and creative. It's called Color Me Rad. It offers folks a chance to put their ideas on canvas in unique environments like a dark room with black light and UV paint.
It is for everyone. It's not limited by age. It doesn't matter what age you are. Anyone can do it. And the concept of throwing paint on each other and on walls, on canvases, is just outside of the box. You're not going to go home and do that. Your mom's not going to let you do that. You know, so like it's just in a safe spot to come in and be able to make a mess, and you don't even have to worry about the cleanup.
Color Me Rad is located at 3120 South Main. On Saturday night, Riggs Chiropractic hosted a family fun night at the Galena Public Library. The community was invited out to enjoy some food, play some games, take part in some giveaways. They were even giving out free spinal screenings. They say it's a way for them to reach out to their community and give some chiropractic care.
We're just having a family fun night, basically, just a game night. We just really wanted to find a way to reach out to the community and bring people together and of course impact them with chiropractic care in any way we could, and just spread awareness there.
Riggs Chiropractic says they hope to venture out into the community more often with events like this. Well, Victoria's Secret hires its first model with Down syndrome. 24-year-old Sophia Geraro confirmed the milestone on Instagram on Thursday. She captioned her campaign photo, quote, "I dreamed of it, I worked on it, and today it's a dream come true." The Puerto Rican model is part of the lingerie brand's Love Cloud collection with 17 other women from different backgrounds. Victoria's Secret has long been criticized for its lack of diversity and inclusion of different body types.
Oh, but that's an amazing story about how she got started.
Yeah.
As a model. How old is she?
24, I think.
24. Yeah, I would love to know that background, and that's something she was already interested in. If she was identified by a talent agency,
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Live look outside of Television City as we say hello to the glow cloud on a marvelous February Monday morning, a President's Day Monday morning. And temperatures already pushing into the 50s. This is something else. Usually our average high for this time of year would be about 52 degrees, and we're cruising. We were really had a number of communities that were past that. Pre-sunrise, as Joplin and Carthage both sit at 54 right now. Chanute and Neodesha at 52, and let's roll 51 in Miami. The weather trend with partly sunny skies. We'll see some cloud cover that'll grow in from the west. For those of you out in the west right now, I know you're actually getting a glorious sunrise with the amount of colors that the clouds have provided. But we'll make it up into the 70s. Great looking February afternoon. But you'll notice on the right hand side of the panel, we've got some clouds with lightning coming out of it. That means little evening thunderstorm activity. But don't let that dissuade anything that you have going on this morning, afternoon, and really early evening, because we won't kick into gear here until later tonight. So we'll put Future Track into motion. As it does, we begin to see the rain kind of sprint through here, say about, we want to start between about 7 and 9 when it starts off light. But then as we push toward midnight, you'll notice it really picks up along and south of I-44. And as that rolls through, we get a secondary band that develops into thunderstorm activity up to the northeastern portion of the 4 states. Follow that up with a little bit of freezing rain early Tuesday morning. Not as widespread as what we've had past couple of weeks. But look at the difference in temperatures right there, as we have fallen all the way from the 70s down to the high 20s, low 30s. Not only for Tuesday, this thing is going to stick around all the way into the weekend. Temperatures way below average, and Tanya even looking at picking up a little snowfall for Wednesday night into Thursday morning.
All right, well, a lot of changes headed our way.
It's going to be a wild 36 hours. That 24-hour temperature change map at some point in time probably going to read in between 40 to 45 degree difference.
No, we'll be here. We'll be here to
Yeah.
give everybody the latest. That's what we do. Up next, we'll have which leisure activities gained a rise in popularity during the pandemic. And later, veterans find a new way to help deal with their post-traumatic stress disorder. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Dear Winter.
95-year-old Queen Elizabeth is in isolation after testing positive for COVID-19. Ian Lee reports.
A statement from Buckingham Palace says the 95-year-old monarch is experiencing mild, cold-like symptoms and is currently receiving medical attention. And in the spirit of her nation, she's carrying on with light duties.
I'm here.
Last week, the Queen met members of the military while keeping her walking stick close by.
How are you? Well, as you can see, I can't move.
Queen Elizabeth's diagnosis comes just weeks after Prince Charles and his wife Camilla both caught the virus. Although it's uncertain how she contracted it, the Queen is believed to be triple vaccinated. She's been a beacon of strength for the nation during the pandemic, rallying her people in its darkest days.
We will meet again.
Now it's her turn to receive support. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson wished the Queen a rapid return to vibrant good health. Queen Elizabeth is currently celebrating her Platinum Jubilee, marking 70 years on the throne. But it hasn't been all cake, as her COVID diagnosis caps off a stressful week for the royal family. Prince Andrew settled a sexual assault lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre for an undisclosed amount. And now British police are investigating Prince Charles' charity for allegedly offering favors in exchange for donations. There has also been speculation about the Queen's health. Last October, she spent a night at a hospital in London for an undisclosed condition. Her doctors told her at the time to rest and slow down.
Well, the Queen's diagnosis could not keep her down. She sent her congratulations to the British curling teams after the women won gold, the men silver at the Beijing Winter Olympics. Products containing cannabidiol, or CBD, a chemical compound naturally found in marijuana and hemp, have become popular in recent years. A new CS Mott Children's Hospital poll finds while a majority of parents have not considered a CBD product for their child, 3/4 say it might be a good option when medications don't work. Most parents say a doctor's prescription should be required. Well, new research finds treating babies with antibiotics in the first week of life is linked with a decrease in healthy bacteria that helps digest breast milk and promotes gut health. A study published in Nature Communications also found an increase in antimicrobial resistance. Many people have turned to leisure activities in the pandemic, like reading or spending time outdoors, and a new study from Oregon State University finds leisure activities can help lower the risk of depression and improve mental well-being. Researchers surveyed about 500 people and found an increase in at-home activities like reading, writing, and computer or video games, but a decrease in most physical and outdoor activities except walking and gardening. It's a good day to skip that breakfast sandwich, muffin, or bagel. Monday is National Grain-Free Day. Really? Grains like wheat and corn are common culprits of food allergies or even autoimmune disease like celiac. National Grain-Free Day was founded in 2019 to raise awareness of the challenges of a restricted diet. So be sure to load up your meals with plenty of fruits, veggies, nuts, and legumes, and honor this day by gathering your family and friends for a healthy and delicious grain-free meal. Power to those who participate. I grew up on a wheat farm, so I will be having my grains today.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I got some bread that I'm going to make for lunch here after the show.
I've trouble with those carbs.
For those of you that go with,
yeah.
what's it called, Anti-Grain Day?
Well, a grain day, grain-free day.
Grain-free day.
It's basically
I shouldn't
an
say
anti-grain day.
Yes. Grain-free, for those of you that,
Anti-Kansas Farmer Day is what it is.
For those of you that celebrate Grain-Free Day, more power to you. And we wish you the best of luck. I got to have my bread. High temperatures, Tanya, for the past 10 days. We kind of ebbed and we flowed back and forth, but still a February average high close to 50 degrees is hard to beat. And coming off of our daily almanac, average high for this time of year would be 52 degrees. We actually had some pre-sunrise temperatures that were already in excess of 52. 54 is where we stand over 7th and Rangeline right now. 31 mile per hour gusts coming in at Joplin Regional Airport. And temperatures between 48 and 54. That's hard to beat. Now it's going to be blustery, but that's the price that we have to pay there for having the temperatures that are very, very nice in nature. As a matter of fact, we'll get up into the 70s later on today. For Chanute, our weather station at Martin Johnson Airport, really hasn't been too long. Just about 5-6 days ago, it was into the 70s. At Joplin Regional Airport, you have to go all the way back to December 26th to find the last day that we reached in excess of 70 degrees. This sounds kind of bizarre, but it's out here by the Baja Peninsula is what we're looking at for the big trough that's going to shoot its way across the southwest and combine to bring us some Gulf moisture. And then we've already seen the cold front creep on the south side of the Canadian border, and it is headed our way. And that's why they've got a number of wind chill warnings, winter storm warnings, the whole nine up in the northern plains. For us here at home, we actually do have a flood watch in effect as we push east of the Ozarks that lasts all the way on the east side of the Mississippi. Now, this afternoon going to be great. Reason that we have those flood watches, though, is as we turn our attention to the severe thunderstorm risk map, you'll notice even a sliver to the north side of I-44 finds itself in the low category, an indicator of not only some hard rain that rolls through late tonight, early tomorrow, but those some high winds in there as well. Continues to train through till about sunrise. And after that, our temperatures just absolutely plummet down to the tune of high 20s for the rest of the week. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Are you dreaming about building?
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Earlier, we were kind enough to be joined by Ashton Graham from the Pittsburgh City Parks and Rec Department talking about a number of activities for the little ones. Well, now we've got a special guest by the name of Kelsey Lawler. Kelsey joining us from Parks and Rec as well, because every now and then us adults like to get out and have a little physical activity of our own. Kelsey, number one, thank you for your time this morning. Number two, our weather has been here, there, and everywhere throughout the month of February, but you've got an event coming up here at the end of the month that I understand, rain or shine, if you call something the Ice Bowl, Kelsey, it means it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's the goal. We would really love to have some snow on the ground for this, but I don't think we will, unfortunately. But the Ice Bowl is a disc golf benefit tournament, so everything we make that day is going to go back to the Wesley House. That's from registration fees. We're also going to sell some discs that day, and just try to make it a really fun day for people to come out and be outside and have fun.
And I guess we're going to do this at the course up at Schlanger, right?
Yes, sir.
Wait, beautiful course.
Beautiful. We did change 9 of the holes, so the first 9 are the same as Schlinger's 9 holes. The back 9 we changed to make it a little harder, and we even threw in some mulligan shots in there, so you guys can try to win some prizes.
I want to reiterate something that Kelsey said right there, because folks, all you need to do as far as your registration fee, how about 5 non-perishable items? You can also give a cash donation, but 5 non-perishable items get you into the Ice Bowl disc golf tournament. And like Kelsey said, what a great cause. I'm so glad that you guys were able to come up with the idea to support the Wesley House there. Then as we transition into the beginning of March here, we've got pickleball open. When's the last time you saw a sport like pickleball take off?
I don't think ever.
Really?
Pickleball has come up from just a thought to now you have like nationals and all of this stuff. So we're kind of playing catch up here because it grew so quick, so fast. So that's what we're doing with the open court, trying to get people to come in and then just really get to know the sport.
So I've got a little bit of a logistical question for you from a Parks and Rec perspective, because as the idea grew to fruition and everybody wanted to play pickleball, from the Parks and Rec standpoint, how did you become prepared? What did you put into motion to make sure people had course equipment, etc.?
Part of that was put in before I got here. So
Okay.
I'm just trying to pick up where they left off. We're trying to add some new courts to make it more readily available for people, because our courts at Schlinger were constantly packed. So we're going to put some in Lincoln as well. We're trying to make it where not only that, but we're going to try to put in some clinics and stuff with it too, just to give people a nice base to know what pickleball is and how to play it.
And for all that information that Kelsey was talking about, it's as easy as going to pittrec.org, and her department has all that information on there. You know, pickleball, great physical, great cardio and whatnot, and so I kind of got to turn the tide on you and ask you, what in the world is the Underachievers 5K?
So it's not a 5K, it's a 0.5K. So
Oh,
it's really just
okay.
5 meters. We saw this idea and we loved it. So it's kind of the start off to, it's getting warm out, let's be outside. But you know, you have those people that just want something active to do. So why not throw an Underachievers 5K? You get food. When you start, you get pizza. And then when you finish, you get donuts. So you get to run, you get to eat, you get to just have some real fun that day.
I love it. Like Kelsey said, if that's the impetus to get you out and about once the weather gets warmer, it's the perfect thing to start off with. Hey, speaking of warmer weather, one thing before I get out, just because you know I'm a sucker for it, softball signups. What are we doing with that?
So our adult league starts March 29th. We do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday is 7-3, Wednesday is 5-5, and then Thursday we have men's and women's teams. Women can also sign up individually and do a draft, because I know sometimes it's hard to find a whole team. But registration is $250 per team, and you guys are more than welcome to come out and have some fun.
And sign-ups, once again, you go to pittrec.org, or if you're interested in stopping by, saying hello to Kelsey or Ashton, who we met earlier, all you have to do is find the building there on the 700 block of 9th Street, right in front of the Lincoln Center, and they will hook you up. Kelsey Lawler from the Pittsburgh Parks and Rec Department. Kelsey, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for finishing us off with softball as well. #Dingers.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
All right, we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Edwin Becker. Specialist 5th class Edwin Becker served with the Army from 1968 to 1969. He served in Vietnam with different battalions and units, but one of them included the 199th Infantry Brigade. He received an Army commendation as well as a combat infantry badge. His hometown, Hallowell, Kansas. We thank you, today's four-state hero, Edwin Becker. Well, New York veterans are finding an effective new treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder. The more than 5,000-year-old practice of yoga is helping to heal both bodies and minds. Carolyn Gusoff reports from Long Island.
In a place veterans gather to share drinks and stories, now
inhale, gather. Exhale, rise.
They also share deep breaths and stretches.
Bring your arms up as high as you comfortably can.
They're learning to control bodies and minds to help cope with physical pain and painful memories.
Yoga's been around for over almost 5,000 years. So this is a modality that has been proven itself stands the test of time.
The Veterans Yoga Project is a nationwide nonprofit with in-person classes returning to Babylon and the VA hospitals after a long COVID pause, bringing mindful resilience to veterans. More than stretching, it's about calming the mind.
Learning to take a moment to just stop, use your breath, feel the felt sensations of your body, because that's really important. Being in the present moment.
Yoga is teaching 78-year-old Vietnam veteran Fred Bensavenga to live in the moment instead of past traumas.
It keeps me in the present, where I don't think back anymore, to the atrocities of war. You focus on the now. It's mind control. It's moving parts of your body that you never even begin to move.
Lower your chin.
Navy vet Tom Dunscombe says it improves his flexibility.
You feel like, a lot less stress in the shoulders.
Veterans in the program report having better sleep, less alcohol and drug use, improved social relationships, and more gratitude. This Air Force vet, who now teaches yoga to fellow veterans, says it enabled her to change her mindset.
I'm able to find value in all things and see beauty in the world, where once before I only saw chaos.
100 free yoga classes online and in person offered each week to veterans and family members, serving those who have served our nation by helping them breathe a little easier.
Namaste means that the light in my heart shines out to the light in your heart.
Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Fourth graders in the 4 states get a hands-on experience with STEM during construction of their own school. And Nathan Drake sees both a movie release and a game release on the PS5. We'll have that, what the Uncharted game is, coming to the system. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Sonic. May I take your order?
Can I get...
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:33. Let's take a look at today's top stories. A Joplin man suffers serious injuries in a motorcycle crash near Saginaw. On Sunday afternoon, shortly after 3:15, Reddingsville Fire Department, Newton County Sheriff's deputies, and the Newton County Ambulance responded to an emergency. Authorities found a single-occupant motorcycle crash involving a 24-year-old male who suffered serious injuries. Authorities say the driver, Paul Haney, was traveling north on Old Highway 71 when his motorcycle crashed into a mailbox. Authorities say Haney failed to negotiate a curve. The motorcycle began skidding and traveled off the right side of the road. Haney struck the mailbox and was thrown from his bike. Authorities say Haney was wearing a helmet. He was transported to Freeman West Hospital. For more on the story, head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. A judge sentences a Grove, Oklahoma woman who pled guilty to assaulting a witness in a murder case. Marie Morrow pled guilty to assault with a dangerous weapon in Indian country. She's sentenced to 30 months in prison and 2 years supervised probation. Authorities say Morrow assaulted a witness in the 2019 murder of Jerry Tapp in an attempt to intimidate them. 2 men, a father and son, are charged with Tapp's murder. You can read more about the case on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And the Joplin Police Department is searching for an armed robbery suspect. They say the suspect held the cashier at the corner convenience store on Maiden Lane at gunpoint, demanded cash, left with that cash and merchandise. The employee was not hurt. Anyone who has information about this robbery should contact the Joplin Police Department. And a Joplin college student accidentally opens himself up to identity theft after he opens an email. The student received a seemingly legitimate employment ad. Email looked like it came from his college. He replied and applied and received a check later with a letter telling him to deposit it, spend the money on gift cards, and then send photos of the backs of the gift cards back to the people who sent the check. Stephanie Garland with the Better Business Bureau says it was then the student realized it was a scam.
So he didn't give out his social security information nor his driver's license, so that's great. But he did give out his address, first and last name. The scammer knows it's an active email now because you replied back. So we just want people to be very cautious and be aware that whether you're a business owner and you've got emails coming from that looks like your company to your customers or your staff, or you're a college student, this can happen to anybody.
Speaking of scams, secondhand shopping used to mean going to your local thrift store, but nowadays we can do that online. So imagine you're surfing along and you find a one-of-a-kind vintage item that's in great shape, selling for a reasonable price. What's the deal of a lifetime, right? Once again, Garland says not so fast. The BBB urges you to be very cautious when shopping online for these vintage and secondhand items due to an increasing number of scam reports. These include people ordering their vintage item online and either getting a knockoff or in some cases nothing at all. Garland says there are some things you can do to protect yourself.
Scammers will target you with ads, and they will know what kinds of things you're going to click on. And they're going to go after your money as much as they can, unfortunately. Also, make sure you look at every single part of the website before you purchase. We've talked before here about going to the About Us page on the website, making sure it's built out, pulling up the address that's there in Google Maps, making sure it's not a different location that doesn't make sense, such as an empty field.
Garland adds it's best to pay with your credit card online for purchases because it has the most federal protections compared to other payment methods like your debit card or services like Google Pay. Little baristas are serving up coffee and receiving a lesson in Noel, Missouri. Kindergarten through second grade students open the T-Rex and Sharks Coffee Shop. It's a project-based learning assignment that teaches the kids valuable skills.
Life skills like making eye contact, using manners. They have to knock on classroom doors before they enter. They have to use please, they have to use thank you. They learn to count money. They take money, they count it, they give change. So basic life skills like that.
Students received compensation in the form of popsicles. Wildcat Glades Friend Group is hosting a kids camp, prepping them for the upcoming trout fishing season. On Saturday, they were able to practice casting their rods and create their own bobbers. It's a great opportunity for kids ages 7 to 12 to get hands-on experience, and due to coming out of the pandemic, there's been an increase of participation at Wildcat Glades.
This age group is awesome because they really catch on to more than you think, but when you put that age group in with adults, they maybe get a little bit more shy. But they are really capable of doing incredible things, and we're trying to get everybody excited about trout fishing season, which opens up March 1st.
You can find more information on Wildcat Glades in this story over at KOAMnewsnow.com. Not all strawberries are created equal. An Israeli farmer has broken the record for the world's heaviest strawberry. Now, according to Guinness World Records, the fruit weighs more than 10 ounces. Put that in perspective, that's more than a mid-sized iPhone. So similar to the strawberries seen here, but much, much bigger. Strawberry is 18 centimeters long and 4 centimeters thick. I don't know what that equates to. I guess we'll find out. It's an Elon variety, which is known for being large. Guinness says multiple berries fused together to form the giant one. Previous record holder was a Japanese strawberry grown in 2015. That one was just shy of 9 ounces.
This one's a whole lot bigger than that one, then.
Yeah.
There's a name for that fusion when they do that, and I can't, for the life of me, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember what it is. Hey, either way, it's going to eat well on ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Giant strawberry.
We just did a story not too long ago on CBS about the strawberries that are grown year-round and whatnot.
Friday, I made a strawberry cake with fresh strawberries on top.
Did you really?
For Leif's birthday. Yeah.
Oh, I bet that was delicious.
Oh, it was yummy. Very yummy.
You could have cut down on the amount of strawberries you needed if you had.
Yeah, I could have just sliced up one.
The record
put
holder
that one
right
giant
there.
one in the middle on the top. They can fight over it.
Tanya, even with our Monday morning cloud cover, still delightful outside. 54 degrees is where we stand. It is going to be blustery today, moving in from the south, 35 to 40 mile-an-hour gusts. But look at all the 50s that we already have up on the board. Now, the wind's not going to die down until really we get into the evening hours, so be prepared for it. But at the same point, it's hard to beat what we've got going on, considering it's the 21st of February and our temperatures are going to be up into the 70s this afternoon. Now, once the sun goes down, we got a little bit of a different tune. We'll begin with thunderstorm activity, especially for the south and eastern parts of the 4 states where we have flood watches. As that rolls through, we see a little freezing rain because a massive cold front drops in tonight from the north. Should be done with it by mid-morning on Tuesday, but look at these temperatures. We're going to go from the 70s today to the high 20s for the rest of the week with a little additional snow for Wednesday into Thursday. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Hi, I'm Scott with Windows.
This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll discussing transgender athletes in sports, specifically Leah Thomas, a swimmer in the Ivy League who's setting NCAA records and conference records. She's a transgender woman, and while some stand with her, others don't want her competing because they view it as unfair. NCAA announcing recently Thomas is eligible to compete in the upcoming national championships that take place in March. Our question for you, do you think transgender athletes should be allowed to compete in sports? Right now, 86% of you say no, they should not. Appreciate the engagement each and every morning. Elementary students in Joplin have the opportunity to get a little behind-the-scenes peek of a new construction project that's going to play a serious role in their future. Dover Elementary. They got firsthand experience, and they say they'll always remember it. Our own Bronte Sorotsky with the story.
The site of the future Dover Elementary School got a visit on Friday from some future students.
I'm really excited because it's all summer and all year we've been working on it, and I'm really excited to go to the new school.
Construction for the site started early last year, and currently they're working on the precast for the gym and cafeteria.
We're actually working on interior metal studs as well as overhead rough-in with mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So we've already started that process. The second floor slab has already been poured, so we're moving forward with the schedule.
Fourth graders at Columbia Elementary have been learning how cranes work to create buildings, how much panels weigh, all with the hopes that they'll learn more in the field of STEM.
Well, because they get to actually touch it and do it and actually work on it, rather than just reading from a book. Like if we actually get to touch it and move it around and actually work with a robotic crane, I think that will, they can remember that a lot better.
So on Friday, the fourth graders got to see how buildings like their future school are built, with some help from Crossland Construction and Pittsco Education.
We get the opportunity to bring them on site, let them see construction in kind of a real world situation, and let them be part of the construction of the building that they're going to be in by the end of the year.
With students getting the opportunity to see this firsthand, he hopes it could even spark an interest in construction. Students even had the chance to practice what they learned on a smaller scale.
So they'll use their own concrete panel, and then we have a robotic crane that they're about to put together, and then the kids get to actually use it and move it and put it into the panel.
Not only did students get a lesson in STEM and construction, but they also got to see how it applies to the real world as well. In Joplin.
1, 2, 3.
Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Construction of the school slated to be done by Christmas. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Dear Winter.
Demand for homes bounced back in January. According to the National Association of Realtors, existing home sales rose 6.7% last month. Meanwhile, the amount of the homes on the market fell, pushing up prices. Median price of a previously owned home rose above $350,000. Many Americans are just one hospital visit or car problem away from erroneous credit card debt. According to Bankrate, only 53% of adults have more money in an emergency savings account than on a credit card. What's more, 22% of U.S. households have more credit card debt than rainy day savings. On the bright side, the figures are an improvement over a year ago. Coca-Cola is inviting people to drink the stars. The company unveiled a new soda called Starlight that's an offshoot of the original Coca-Cola. Reddish-colored drink comes in regular and zero sugar. Starlight is the first beverage from Coca-Cola Creations. Its new innovation, ARM, a limited edition drink, goes on sale today. All right, we'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Good luck trying to...
Tom Holland's new movie, Uncharted, hit theaters last week, and the game series that it's based on has a new title out for the PlayStation 5. Our man Rick Damigella with a preview.
I am a man of fortune, and I must seek my fortune.
Nathan Drake and Chloe Fraser get their adventures updated for the PlayStation 5 in Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection.
It includes Uncharted 4: A Thief's End and Uncharted Lost Legacy, which was a standalone quasi-expansion or downloadable content kind of tied to the experience of Uncharted 4 with different characters than Nathan Drake.
You know that treasure hunting is not a good gig for the risk of us.
The gameplay in Lost Legacy is very different from what we have seen in established Uncharted games. It's much more open world and a little bit more sort of you pull out the map and you figure out where you want to go, and you can kind of take the adventure at your own pace and at your own time.
The biggest pirate treasure of all time is within our grasp.
But the marquee standout element of this collection for sure is Uncharted 4. It is such a beautiful game. It's obviously tipping the fedora to Indiana Jones. Now, both of these games are PlayStation 4 games, but they've been given a PlayStation 5 coat of paint to take advantage of the new PlayStation 5 DualSense controllers and their haptic feedback. And it also runs at a higher frame rate, so 60 frames per second.
Come on. We got a treasure to find.
Leveling Up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
The movie in theaters as we speak this week. Maybe a good one to catch a little entertainment inside, because after a glorious Monday, we've got nothing but cold on the horizon. So get out and enjoy some fresh air today, because our temperature's already into the 50s here before the 8 o'clock hour. But look at that cold air up to the top of the screen. It is headed our way as the upper plains is filled with warnings and watches, whether it be wind chills or winter storm advisories. And we've got a little flood watch action for northwest Arkansas and the eastern portion of southwest Missouri that actually stretches all the way east of the Mississippi. Our afternoon planner, 70 degrees today. It's going to be absolutely glorious. But by the time we get to tonight, we turn our attention to the severe thunderstorm risk map. Here we start with the heavy rains later tonight. Majority of it stays south of I-44. Heavy rain, high winds as well. And then as we push into Tuesday morning, the temperatures just go down, 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 all the way from the 70s today to the 20s tomorrow and the 20s for the rest of the week. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Sale is even.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Russian troops have received orders to proceed with an invasion of Ukraine. According to new U.S. intelligence, Russia is also rescinding a pledge to pull tens of thousands of troops back from Ukraine's border, extending military exercises in Belarus that were slated to end yesterday. President Biden held an emergency meeting with his national security team on Sunday and consulted with French President Emmanuel Macron in a phone call. COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations continue to fall across the U.S. Health experts point to herd immunity from the Omicron variant. Many states and communities are cutting back or lifting restrictions. Queen Elizabeth II has tested positive for COVID-19. Buckingham Palace says the 95-year-old British monarch is experiencing mild cold-like symptoms. She's believed to have had 3 vaccine shots. Her eldest son, Prince Charles, and daughter-in-law, Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, also recently contracted the virus. Checking with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
70s on this President's Day. This is hard to beat for this time of February, and it's not going to last for long. Tonight brings us thunderstorm activity followed by a massive cold front. We'll have about a 40-degree difference between Monday afternoon and Tuesday afternoon, and some additional snowfall headed our way for Wednesday night into Thursday.
An Australian man performs a towering feat of mental strength, only to destroy the evidence of his achievement. 22-year-old Brendan Kelby refused to watch his former M&M's glory melt away into obscurity after losing an M&M stacking record he held in 2020. 4 delicious round pieces. Will Cutbill of Britain overtook him at 5 pieces in 2021. But Kelby patiently reclaimed his Guinness World Records title with a tower of 6, count them, 6 M&Ms.
Gotta have goals in your life, folks. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. Back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.